Okay, so here we are on this thing. And so we have these headings, right? We're going to have this big, awesome heading right here. And you want to be able to have it centered, of course, right? So now we're in this H1 tag, and all we need to do is come over here and just click on the text button here, and then go down here and just center that. And the same thing with this. So when you click on it, see now it says H2 tag, and we're going to click on the text, and we're going to do center that as well. And so you can see how it's now centered within the confines of the container that it's in. See, the layout container and this container, everything is centered. Okay, and then this we have to leave the same until we have a checkout page. But then you can add your image here, and you can center this image. And let's see, sometimes you got to play with this stuff because it doesn't always work. But let's say we want to center this image. We can go here to this layout section, and we're going to tell it we want that image to be centered. And so now you can see it's centered it, and it's taken the whole space next to it. So you can have a really large image of your book or whatever, but you can play with that. This feature, it doesn't work great, but it does work, fairly okay. And so good rule of thumb is to kind of work your way from the outside in, and that way you're formatting the right place. So think about that. And when you put this image in, it may not work that way. So I'm going to just undo that. So the image is back to small. Okay, there it is. And I'll go through that in a little while. Okay, so now here we are again. We have some headings, and we're going to go ahead and center those again. And we'll center this one. And then this one, we want to center this in between the confines of this. So we're going to do that there. And you can see how it has a P tag. What that is a paragraph tag. And that particular, this particular item is a text that's as a paragraph. Okay, and then this is again a P tag. So if you wanted to center this, you could do that. Or you can just keep it left aligned, whatever you choose to do. Okay, and so now you can see how everything's starting to look more like a page, but there's some spacing issues, right? So this is really on top of this other thing. So I want to get a little bit of breathing room between my two headings and this next block. So I'm going to the block level, and I'm going to go to the either the stylable element. You can see it contains the image, and the image is actually like left aligned in this two-fold box, right? We have a box here and a box here, and it's really kind of left aligned, right? And so we've got this larger thing, and we want to make sure we're either in the stylable element or the container that it belongs in. And so then all we're going to do is we're going to go over here, and we are going to add a little bit of margin on the top and the bottom. And all you have to do is use that slider, and then, when you get a good spot, then okay, you might want to just change it to 20 so it's even, right? And that'll make it easier for you. And then you can do some cool things to this. So see how this element has this block? You could actually make a shadow of that. So if I click on like large, it creates a shadow. See how it created a shadow around that? That's pretty cool, right? But you can see how, well, the shadow box is right on top. There's no air between this title and the shadow of that box. So again, we'll go to that container that we were in. Remember, this is the one that has the large shadow box. And we will add a little bit of breathing room by using the margin now. So you can see how the space created breathing room between the container and the container above it. But now we're going to actually create some padding in here that's going to actually make my box a little bit bigger. So when I set it to 20, you can see now I've got a little bit of breathing room here from my shadow box. And that is really the best way to see that in action. So now you can see how it would be nice to move the margin over on this container so that, especially this text box, right? So that I have a little bit of margin over here because it's really, really tight on both sides. So to do that, I'm going to go here and I'm going to add a little bit of margin. And let's see, yeah, there we go. See, I've added just a hair of margin. Maybe I only want it to be 20, you know. So once you start using that slider, then you can see to get it really precise, it's easier just to change the number right there. Just make sure that the only ones highlighted are the ones that it's going to change, right? So if you want to change them evenly, you want to highlight both over here, not just one. Okay, and then I'm gonna center this picture in this box. So I can't do it by highlighting on the box. on the image, I have to highlight the box, and then I'm going to tell it to center anything that's in that box. And I can do that just by the text file, because I don't have, I have an image box in there, but it's going to center whatever is in that image. Okay, and then another thing that I see is this little title is extremely close to this paragraph. So I can add some margin or padding to the top of this paragraph, or I can add the margin or padding to the bottom of this. But since I've already formatted this, I'm going to go ahead and just do the formatting on this one, because I like to keep my formatting on the same ones, just making it easier to manage overall. Okay, so now I'm just gonna just do a little bit of margin. So I'm gonna do 20 again, because I like 20. And you can see it's created 20, a 20 space underneath it as well, which is great because it will keep giving you space as you add more text here. It'll give you that little bit of space that you need underneath it. Okay. All right. So that is how you can start formatting your boxes. Now, if you don't want that shadow box on there, you can always take it off, but that's a great way for you to start really looking at how you want your image and your text to look within it. And then you could remove that if you didn't want that to be on there. Okay. All right. And so now you can see how these ones are already created as a shadow box themselves, these individual items. I didn't do that. And so they're kind of already set up to stick an image in here and then just, add these. I like the way they look now, so I'm just going to leave those for now. Later, I might want to put in the whole entire block is to put a border around the whole entire block, but then you'd have shadow upon shadow upon shadow, right? So just as an example, if I showed you here and did a large, then you could see how it has that little bit of a shadow all the way around it, where now you probably need a little bit of breathing room, right? So again, you're going to go to the spacing on that, but you got to make sure you're highlighted on that box, on the actual container, which is what we created the shadow on right here. And then you can add that padding to both sides to give it that little bit of breathing room. Okay. All right. And then you could see how you might want to do it on these sides as well. So just to show you, again, I want to be on the container, not on the block, because that's where my shadow is. And now I created that spacing here, and I'm going to create a little bit of spacing on the side, maybe 10. And you can see it just kind of reduced the size of everything, because it's going to keep the margin here as its default setup. So you don't have that real wide, one section's real wide and another's not. So now you can see there's a little shadow box around it and within that shadow as well. So a nice little feature. And now here we're down at the bottom, and you can see, wow, these guys are really jammed up in here, right? So I'm going to go to the container level. You could go to the block level, But I'm going to go to the container level and I'm going to just give it some little bit of margin. So it's not so, so on top of everything. And then again, I want to center this text. So I'm just going to go to that. And this is just going to say click to go, you know, whatever. And then I'm going to get on this, the little container or this button. Let's see if I can use that to center my button. No, I can't. Okay. So this one. So now I'm going to be here. Let's see. And I'm going to try just, there we go. Okay. So I was on the container. So not being on the button, you don't want to be on the button. You want to be on the container here in order to center that button. And then you can go in here to the button itself and you can make it bigger. So you can make the background a different color. Let's say we make it yellow and we can make the text black just by clicking this. And now we've made that work. And then we can change the font. Sorry, this thing, sometimes it doesn't work to, okay, just get rid of that. And then we can make it wider by going into the spacing and adding more side padding to make it however large we want it to be. And then you can also do this to make it a thicker button if you wanted. That's a little too thick, geez. Maybe 20, my favorite number. And then you can go up to here and you can actually make that text bigger. So you can see how it also enlarges my box. So you want to make the text as big as you want, and then go into the sizing. I didn't do it that way, but then go in here and change this to 10. See, now it looks a lot better. And then you can also change the border, so you can make corners. So you can see how, like this, see how right now without it, see how square the button is, doesn't even look like a button. So now you can do the border and you can just make that a little bit bigger. So see how it has nice rounded corners now. And then I want to add some spacing to the bottom of this because I don't like that it's just like that. So I'm going to add a little bit of margin, and that way it's not so, crazy. Maybe a little padding too, just to give it some space. Okay, so that is your basic page. And you can see how like these are kind of hugged up on there again. So I would first go to the block and I would create some spacing on the top and the bottom of the block itself to give it some breathing room. And then I might do the same thing within the text, the heading text, create some space between that one and the one underneath it. Something like that. And that way you have that breathing room that you need. Okay, so that is how you create this basic thing. Now, there's a great thing that you can do. One is you can, well, first we need to save before I screw it up. But you can go to the whole body here and sorry. Uh-oh, looks like I lost my, oh, there it is. Okay, so that is how you build a page. And that's just your basic standard way so that you can make it work for yourself and then just be able to build from scratch